In a small, quiet village, there lived a boy named Leo. He was 10 years old, with tousled brown hair and bright blue eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Leo had a joyful spirit and a smile that could light up the gloomiest day. He adored his father, Tom, who was a hard-working farmer. Tom's hands were calloused from years of tilling the earth, yet his heart was soft and full of love for his son. Every morning, before the sun peeked over the hills, Leo would rush outside to help his father in the fields. Together, they planted seeds, tended to animals, and shared stories under the vast sky. Leo loved listening to his father's tales about brave knights and magical lands. They shared lunch under an old oak tree, where Tom would smile and ruffle Leo's hair, making him laugh. Their bond was strong, built on laughter, lessons, and love. On days when they weren't working, they would explore the nearby woods, searching for hidden treasures like colorful leaves or unique rocks. Leo admired how his father taught him to appreciate nature and understand the world around them. To Leo, his father was a hero, someone who could fix anything and make him feel safe. But despite their happy routine, there was something lurking in Leo's heart that he couldn't quite express. A fear of losing the one person he loved most. That fear would lead him to dig a grave, setting off a chain of events that would change everything. One afternoon, as the sun hung high in the sky, Leo found himself alone in a secluded part of the woods behind his house. The air was warm, and the rustling leaves created a soothing melody. But instead of playing or exploring, Leo had chosen a different path. He was digging a grave. With each swing of the small shovel, he felt a mix of determination and urgency. The earth was tough, and sweat trickled down his forehead, but he didn't stop. His blue eyes were focused, narrowed in concentration as he pushed through the dirt. To an outsider, it might have seemed strange for a boy to be digging a grave without any reason, but to Leo it felt necessary, a task he believed he had to complete. As he dug deeper, thoughts swirled in his mind like leaves caught in the wind. He imagined stories his father had told him about heroes facing difficult challenges. This grave was not just a hole in the ground. It symbolized something much larger for Leo, a way to confront his fears and protect the person he loved most. The sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the ground. Despite feeling tired and dirty, Leo felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He couldn't fully explain it to himself yet, but something inside urged him to keep going. Driven by love and fear intertwined, he continued digging until the hole was just right. As the days went by, whispers began to circulate through the small village about Leo's peculiar behavior. Curious villagers often passed by the edge of the woods, their eyes wide with confusion as they spotted him working tirelessly on the grave. "What could that boy be up to?" they asked one another, furrowing their brows in concern. Mrs. Jenkins, an elderly woman known for her keen interest in village affairs, speculated, "Perhaps he's playing a game? Kids these days have such wild imaginations." Her friend, Mr. Thompson, shook his head and replied, "No way. It looks serious. I heard that his father has been unwell lately. Maybe Leo is preparing for something terrible." The gossip spread like wildfire. Some villagers believed it was a sign of bad luck or even a warning from the spirits of the forest. Others thought it might be a strange ritual or a prank gone too far. "I never thought Leo would do something like this," said young Sarah, her eyes wide with fear. "He always seemed so happy." Meanwhile, Leo remained focused on his task, unaware of the growing concern around him. He felt the weight of their thoughts but only pushed himself harder to dig deeper into the earth. To him, this wasn't just gossip. It was a mission born from love and fear that he hoped would shield his father from harm. As rumors swirled in the village, Leo continued to work, determined to complete what he had started without understanding how it had captured everyone's attention. That evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Leo returned home from the woods, dirt still clinging to his clothes. Tom was sitting on the porch, his weathered hands resting on his knees. He looked up with a smile, but it faded when he noticed the solemn expression on Leo's face. "Hey there, buddy. You look like you've been working hard," Tom said, trying to lighten the mood. But Leo didn't respond with his usual cheer. Instead, he shifted nervously from one foot to the other. "Dad, can I talk to you about something?" Leo asked softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Tom nodded, concern creeping into his eyes. "Of course, Leo. What's on your mind?" Taking a deep breath, Leo spoke hesitantly. "I've been digging a grave out in the woods." The words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. "A grave," Tom repeated, brow furrowed with worry. "Why would you do that? Are you feeling okay?" Leo looked down at the ground, unsure of how to explain his feelings. I just thought it might keep you safe," he finally admitted, his voice trembling. Tom's heart ached at Leo's words. He reached out, pulling Leo into a gentle embrace. "Son, I appreciate your love and care, but there's no need to worry about me. I'm here for a long time." Though Tom's words were meant to reassure, Leo couldn't shake the weight of his fears, leaving both father and son in a moment of quiet understanding. For Leo, digging the grave was much more than an unusual task. It became a symbol of his love, protection, and deep-seated fears. Each scoop of earth represented his struggle against the idea of losing Tom, an unbearable thought that haunted him like a shadow. As he worked tirelessly in the woods, the act of digging transformed into a ritual, one grounded in the wish to shield his father from harm. In Leo's young mind, the grave wasn't merely a hole. It stood for his determination to confront the fear that loomed over their lives. He believed that by creating this space, he could somehow control fate and prevent any tragedy from befalling Tom. The more he dug, the more he felt as though he was building a fortress of sorts, a barrier between his father and the dangers that lurked outside their small world. Yet, there was also a sense of sadness woven into this act. With every shovelful of dirt removed, Leo felt the weight of potential loss pressing down on him. It was as if he was mourning something that had yet to happen, a fear that had taken root in their happy life together. This mixture of love and anxiety pushed him forward, giving him strength even as it revealed the fragility of life. Ultimately, for Leo, digging that grave served as both an expression of his devotion and a stark reminder of how deeply he cared for his father. A blend of hope wrapped in fear that would shape their journey ahead. The next day, after Leo's heartfelt confession about the grave, Tom found himself wrestling with a mix of emotions. He stood in the kitchen, holding a cup of steaming tea, reflecting on what his son had said. The idea that Leo felt compelled to dig a grave out of love and fear struck him deeply. Tom felt an ache in his heart, realizing how much weight this burden placed on a 10-year-old child. Later that afternoon, unable to shake his thoughts, Tom decided to accompany Leo to the woods. As they walked side by side, Tom noticed the small pile of dirt and the carefully dug hole. Seeing it up close stirred a swirl of feelings: confusion, concern, and an overwhelming sense of pride for Leo's intentions. It was clear to Tom that this act came from a place of pure love. "Leo," he said gently, kneeling down beside his son, "I understand why you wanted to do this, but you must know, I'm not going anywhere." He placed a reassuring hand on Leo's shoulder. "You are my brave little boy." Tears glimmered in Leo's eyes as he looked at his father. In that moment, Tom realized just how deeply their bond had grown, forged through the shared understanding of fear and the desire to protect one another. They stood together in silence, two hearts intertwined by love and vulnerability, both feeling that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As news of Leo's grave digging spread through the village, reactions varied wildly among the townspeople. Some were quick to express concern and sympathy, feeling a deep sense of compassion for the young boy. Mrs. Jenkins, who had previously speculated about Leo's actions, now shook her head with sadness. "That poor child," she muttered to her friends at the market. "He must be so scared. We need to support him somehow." Others, however, glanced at Leo with judgmental eyes. Mr. Thompson, who often prided himself on his practical nature, furrowed his brow and said loudly, "I don't understand why a boy would do something so morbid. Kids should play and enjoy life, not dig graves." His words echoed in the air, causing some villagers to nod in agreement while others exchanged uneasy glances. Amid the gossip and speculation, a few villagers decided to reach out directly to Leo and Tom. They brought meals over and offered their help around the farm, wanting to show their support without prying into the boys' feelings. "We're all here for you," they told Tom gently. As Leo continued to navigate his emotions, he felt both the warmth of those who cared and the coolness of those who judged him. The mixed responses from the community highlighted not only their fears but also their varied understanding of love and loss, a reflection of how deeply connected everyone was in this small village, even when they didn't quite know how to express it. In the days following the village's mixed reactions, conversations about life and death became more prominent among Leo, Tom, and their neighbors. One evening, Leo sat on the porch with his father, watching the stars twinkle brightly in the vast sky. The air was filled with comfortable silence when Leo finally spoke up. "Dad, do you think we'll always be together?" Tom looked down at his son, sensing the weight behind the question. He took a moment before replying. "Well, Leo, life is sometimes unpredictable, but you should know that I will always be here for you as long as I can." Just then, Mrs. Jenkins approached from her garden next door. "What are you boys talking about?" she asked with a warm smile. Leo hesitated but shared his concerns about life and loss. As Tom listened to the conversation unfold, he felt grateful for the support of their neighbor. "Life is precious, my dear," Mrs. Jenkins said gently. "We may not have all the answers about what happens after, but each day we spend with loved ones is a gift." Her words resonated with Leo, who nodded thoughtfully. As discussions continued amongst friends and neighbors, they reflected on their cherished memories and expressed their love for one another. The conversations provided comfort to Leo and reinforced family bonds within the community. By openly addressing fears of mortality, they began to embrace gratitude for each moment together, transforming worry into appreciation. A valuable lesson that strengthened their connections in times of uncertainty. As the days passed, Leo found a sense of peace blossoming within him. Digging the grave, initially an act born of fear, had transformed into a way for him to confront his worries about loss and mortality. The process had been cathartic. Each shovelful of earth allowed him to release the tension that had built up from his anxieties. One quiet afternoon, Leo returned to the site, now filled with a mixture of emotions. Standing by the grave, he closed his eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the gentle breeze brush against his skin. In that moment, he whispered, "I love you, Dad," imagining his father standing beside him. He understood that life was unpredictable and that while he couldn't control what happened in the future, he could cherish the moments spent together. Reflecting on his experiences led Leo to realize that digging the grave was not just about preparing for loss. It had also been about honoring the love he had for Tom. By acknowledging his feelings instead of pushing them away, Leo began to find closure. He understood that it was natural to fear losing loved ones but knew that focusing on their time together brought joy and meaning to both their lives. As he placed a small stone at the edge of the grave, a symbol of love rather than mourning, Leo felt lighter. He was ready to embrace life fully alongside his father, recognizing that love would always prevail over fear. In the end, Leo's journey taught him that love and loss are intertwined parts of life, each shaping our experiences in profound ways. By confronting his fears through the act of digging a grave, he not only acknowledged the sadness that can come from losing loved ones, but also celebrated the strength of their bond. This process allowed Leo to see that vulnerability can lead to deeper connections, as he learned that sharing fears can bring families closer together. Tom, too, emerged from this experience with a renewed appreciation for the moments they shared. He recognized how important it was to communicate openly about feelings, reinforcing the idea that even in uncertainty, love serves as a guiding light. The support from their neighbors further emphasized how community plays a vital role in coping with life's challenges. No one has to face fear alone. As Leo looked up at the stars one night, he felt a sense of hope blossoming within him. He understood that while life is unpredictable, the love between him and his father would endure through any trials they faced. Together, they would navigate the complexities of life, holding onto each other tightly. Ultimately, A Boy Dug a Grave Alone is a story about embracing emotions, fear, love, and hope, and recognizing that family bonds are a source of strength. In learning to cope with his fears and cherish each moment shared with his father, Leo discovered that true courage lies not in avoiding pain but in embracing love fully.